Hey there, besties. Welcome back to another episode of What's the Tea with Tim. I'm your host, Timothy Hill, and I'm excited to dive into a topic that hits home, the complexities of dating and relationships for queer men in today's world. Let's take a moment for the steep. This is a segment where I share my personal insights and thoughts and reflections on what it means to navigate love in a landscape that can sometimes feel overwhelming. In a time where connections can be fleeting and intentions are often questionable, how do we find genuine relationships while staying true to ourselves? Today, we'll explore the challenges faced by queer men and their quest to meaningful connections and discussing everything from the pitfalls of modern dating to the triumphs of building real intimacy. As we sip on our tea, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences and the journey towards finding love that resonates with your values. So let's steep ourselves into this conversation and get ready for an honest exploration of what it means to date in today's trying times. And we have two amazing guests of mine, two friends of mine that I'm so happy to have on the show. And I just can't wait to get into the tea with my besties, James and Colby. Let me read y'all their intros because I don't want to mess this up. First, we have James Rogers III. James is an award-winning writer, producer, director from Compton, California. He tells stories that center otherness in deeply imaginative, often fantastical worlds, showcasing the magic of inner city opulence that inspires him to create and ask audience to dream. James's short film, Rocky Road on Channel 3, was recently nominated for an NAACP award for an outstanding short form live action after premiering at the Tribeca Film Festival last year. He has written and produced Emmy-nominated content for Disney+, Showtime, Netflix, Amazon, and more. Prior to storytelling, James has directed a literary summer school in South LA, worked on Capitol Hill during the Obama administration, and nearly became a lawyer just like his father. James loves planning murder mystery parties, roller skating, and knows more about Pokemon than anyone should. Welcome to What's the Tea with Tim, James.
What's up? What's up, Tim?
How are you?
I am great.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. Next, we have a dear friend of mine, Colby Dior. Colby is an operations manager for a Fortune 500 company by day, but pursues his passions that run much more deeper. He's a thriving content creator and dedicated gym enthusiast. Born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Colby had the privilege of living in some of the most vibrant cities, currently resides in Washington, D.C. When it comes to relationships, Colby is experienced it all, from high caliber connections to some relationships that may remain unspoken. At just 25 years old, Colby has already achieved so much and has no signs of slowing down. Driven, ambitious, and always ready for what's next, Colby continues to push forward. Colby is fluent in American Sign Language and believes in using his voice and hands to make an impact. Welcome to What's the Tea with Tim, Colby.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Of course. Now, when I was reading your bio, it said you want to use your voice and your hands. I want to leave that to audience interpretation.
You over here thinking you're talking about sign language, but I guess
Just a little bit of a cliffhanger. Just a little bit of a cliffhanger.
He's multi-talented, y'all. Colby, how are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm so glad to have you on the podcast. So I have a question for you both. And just to kick us off, what do you feel life is teaching you right now? James, you can go first.
I feel like life is teaching me to be curious, to be a little bit more self-centered, and to embrace love.
I love that. Come on, embrace some love.
Right. I love that.
Colby, what do you feel like life is teaching you right now?
Personally, I would say life is telling me to be a little bit more in the moment. I'm more of a planner, trying to figure out my next step, what I'm going to do after I figure this out, after I accomplish one thing, what I'm going to do next. So just kind of living more in the now, just figure out still staying what I'm going to do right now. That's honestly what I think life is telling me.
Amen.
I'm trying to do.
Amen. Love it. Thank you for sharing. I feel like life is teaching me to really trust God. I feel like life brings a lot of uncertainty. And in this moment of my life, it's just really relying on God to just whatever those next steps are, just trust him and he's going to bring you through it. Word for the audience. So think about what life is teaching y'all right now. As y'all know, today's topic is dating and relationships, specifically targeting the queer community and specifically targeting queer men. So James and Colby, as y'all know, I am off the market. I am taken, but the people want to know, are you single? Are you dating? Are you in a relationship? James, we'll start with you.
I am dating.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Colby?
I am dating as well. I do have a favorite pick, but I am still dating. Yes.
Okay. Favorite pick. James, is there a favorite pick for you?
There's a lead horse in the race. That's for certain.
Yes, lead horse.
I got my money on somebody.
Yes, lead horse.
Yeah, I got my money on somebody, but you never know who can shoo.
Somebody might pull out the last race.
It's never count a horse out.
Yes.
Period. Well, it's about to be Renaissance in this bitch.
Right.
Like,
Get the girls going.
Let's bring out Beyonce. So, y'all, as y'all know, there are so many dating platforms. We got Hinge, we have Tinder, there's, if you're into other things, there's Grindr, there's a red app named Jacked. Has dating, or have you had any success using dating apps? If so, what did that look like for you, Colby?
So I've tried all the apps. I've been on all of them and been on dates on all of the apps. And personally, they have not came to anything for me other than a good night's fun or a good hangout. Honestly, I personally have not gotten anything that was of substance from the app. It just didn't hit on anything for me, sadly.
Yeah,
so
I get it. James, how about you?
Yeah, I would say, funny enough, the first long-term boyfriend I ever had, I met on Jacked, which was crazy.
And people never find love on Jack, so they hear that.
Yeah.
And we were together for like 2 years. Now, was it a good 2 years? Did I enjoy every part of it? Was there something demonic?
Demonic?
There was other elements that I call into question now. But otherwise, not really. Like, especially in recent, that was quite some time ago, but in recent years, like I tried Hinge, Raya. Raya is just like a glorified networking app. I was just kind of like, you just on this app so that we can follow each other on Instagram and not talk over there too. Interesting. So not really. And I feel like it's just kind of hard to make a genuine connection through a profile.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just an in-person type of person, but even that is more difficult because where do you meet people?
Exactly.
With the eradication of the third living space, what is it called? The third space. It's like work, home, and whatever the other one is.
Yeah.
Dating apps are, it's tough. Like I've had my experience in dating apps too, and it's like it could be really hit or miss. I remember before I met my boyfriend, I was probably chatting with this guy that I met on Hinge, and we had a good run, probably about like 2 or 3 months, but he just ended up ghosting me. And like, I'm like, wow, like we were going on dates. I was hanging out at your house, and then you just end up ghosting me out of 3 months. Like, what? Who does that?
I was gonna say, I forgot I met a really good man on LinkedIn.
Ooh, we love a professional man.
Wait, that's new.
A man with a job.
Premium? Is it
now? That's some tea. That is
Wait a minute.
Tell us more.
We had connected previously because we crossed paths in a work type of way, but it was very brief. And so then we came across each other on LinkedIn and we just connected, and I had already known him. I also could see that he had a job, which is important to me.
Well, yeah.
And I could see a history of work, which is also important. And we hung out, and it just was a vibe. It was kind of like, I can see some alignment here, but it was a surprising connection. It was like, I'm not on LinkedIn trying to hook up, but
hey, listen, get it how you live. Get it how you live. He has a job. Hopefully he had a good job.
Multiple jobs at that, he said. Yeah,
multiple jobs. Yes. Employment history.
His bills were paid.
Check cleared.
So I'm curious, now that we've talked about dating apps, can you guys tell me about the best date you've ever been on. What was that like for you? And we'll start with you, James.
The best date I've ever been on, this gentleman, the suitor, took me to a park and we did an entire picnic and they brought all the stuff that I like and they kind of very discreetly had been asking like what type of stuff you like. And when I got there, it was like all the fruit, candy, drinks, like everything that I really enjoyed. And it just was very lovely. It was like, there's no pressure to do anything after this. I just want to know who you are, what you're looking for. And this person was just very forthcoming with their intentions. So it just felt like it feels nice to be relaxed on a date and not feel like I have to impress you or worry about anything. But also, it felt nice that somebody was like, to set the tone, I want to take care of you. And I'm sure you want to do the same for me at some point, but I want to lead with that. And that was really, really sweet and just warm. And I really like that.
Yeah, I really like when someone shows up with intention.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that I look for going into dates. So I'm glad that you experienced that. And like just hearing you say that he came looking for things that you liked and showed up with those things at the date, like that for me, like would have sold me. I'm like, oh, you really like did your homework.
You
You
paid
know,
attention.
you paid attention. So that is honestly really powerful. Kobe, what has been your best dates?
I will honestly say it was while I was in LA. I was dating this
Mm.
guy out there, and more of the same thing of like just be more of the intentionality of it. I always wanted to. When moving to LA, it was always my dream of like the going to the beach and having the fire pits on the beach thing, and just kind of being out there watching the sunset whole thing. And I discussed it with the guy at the moment, which is kind of crazy because the date itself was great, and it's something I always remember simply because he listened to what I wanted and he did it. And me usually being the person who's the suitor, the pursuer. So to actually be able to sit back a little bit more in my feminine and kind of be pursued and be able to be, be not winded down, but be taken out and be listened to. And we go out, he has the wood in the trunk of the car to put in the fire pit. It was just cute. It was very cute and very intentional. I was just able to sit back with a big smile on my face, like, okay, like I'm gonna let a man be a man, so just letting him lead, and it was definitely dope to see that.
Okay.
But the gentleman itself, it didn't end up too well with him. But
He had wood in the back of the truck.
yes. Like for the well, we won't go
wood in the
there.
back of the truck.
We won't go there. But the wood for the fire pit, the real wood, he actually had to go to the yard to go get the wood, like for the fire pit. So I thought it was dope that he had to actually take the steps to do it. It took a lot of deciding to do it. And so even as simple as it was just something that I always wanted, especially being somebody moving from the South to LA. Like I just always loved the beach. It's always been my thing. So it was dope. It was probably one of my best days ever, honestly.
I love that.
Yes.
Now, what about your worst date ever?
Ooh.
I know it's a tough one. Kobe, I'll let you go first.
It actually goes back to Atlanta. There was a man who did the most about wanting to go out. He went out for the night. He's like, he wants to take me out. He wants to do all these things. So I let him take me out. If you are familiar with Atlanta, it's a place called Harold's on Edgewood. So it's very cool, very calm. Like it's like a good fun time. Oh, so we go to Harold's, whatever, we're out. And we're having a good time. It's a good night. Woo, we're having a good time, like drinking. The hookah's at the table. We're blowing hookah. The music's playing. The bill comes. It's always when the bill comes, right?
Always when the bill
So
comes.
the bill comes to the table. And like I said, I let a man be a man. I also have no problem with putting down for a car, but you asked me on this date, my expectation is that you're going to
pay
on the tab. Honestly, that's just what my expectation is. The bill comes. He's looking, he doesn't pick up the tab when the lady comes. He's looking at his phone, he goes, fuck. And I'm like, what? Like,
all right, what is it? What is it?
I'm still with the hookah. I'm going like,
wait.
I'm like, he said it again, go, fuck. I'm like, what? Like, because at this point, you're saying it again like you want me to hear you.
Yeah.
So what?
Kept ignoring him.
Yeah, I kept ignoring him because I'm like, that's a man's problem. He needs to figure
I would have been like, you want to go fuck? What?
Yeah, like, is that what it is? Like, you trying
But before we do that, you got to get to this bill.
Yeah, like, sir. So he's like, oh, like, my account messed up right now, like, and I can't even tell you the money to pay for it. So could you pay for it and I pay back? And I'm like, Fuck, I just got stuck on a date with a broke man. It's just he didn't bamboozle me for a night out. Like that's honestly what it was. And I don't like being embarrassed about money ever. Like it's a problem for me. It's a I don't know. I don't like when someone's coming to ask for a card over and over again and no one has a card to give them. So I paid the tab.
Oh.
And he still tried to go home with me. So I said, it's absolutely no way that we're going home together. I would more of the thing was that it's not even the fact that he didn't pay the tab, it was the way that he presented it in the fuck, it was like you knew you didn't have that money when you picked me up from this house. You knew you didn't have that money.
So it was the dramatics for you.
It was the dramatics for me, honestly. We're young. I understand money's not gonna be what it's supposed to be sometimes, but like
right.
You just played a full show. And I'm just not that kind of bitch. Like it just definitely wasn't for me. So I definitely took my happy ass back to my house, back to my humble abode. It definitely was my worst day because I was just more of the embarrassment and the full show that he put on, honestly.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. James, as a writer, producer, do you think that is an Oscar-winning performance?
I think it's nominated for sure. I think it's nominated, but I just something about it tells if you were there, you just know the award wasn't going to go to him because it was like
it was bad. It was bad.
Oh my God, Kobe, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Just tell me what I was going to accept, though. It told me what I would not deal with no more. Because that was my first time it ever had happened to me. And I see people talk about it all the time, but I was like, not me. That couldn't be my story. But it became my story. So, but it taught me that I would never, like when you see the signs, like I just would never be in that situation again. Knocking on wood. But just I don't think I'll ever be in that situation again, hopefully. So.
Period. I hope you're never in that situation again, ever. James, what was your worst date?
Ooh, it's been a couple. I think I went on this date with this gentleman, and as we discussed earlier, I like a man with a job. I like to know that you got money in a bank account, and so it was giving wealth. It was giving, I've worked for the things that I have. We're out in a nice restaurant. He's paying for it. It all feels good. Okay, well, he's like, oh, I want to invite you back to the house for a nightcap. Okay, we don't know what that means. We go back to the house and we walk in. It ain't no furniture in there.
Ooh.
It's a blow-up mattress elevated on a box spring next to the kitchen.
Oh.
And there ain't no furniture in there, just a microphone.
A microphone.
That's all I'm like.
He's a starving artist.
He's a starving artist. That's exactly what I thought. And so I was like, what is that microphone for? And he was like, oh yeah, I'm like trying to work on my singing career.
Oof.
Ooh.
And so I was like, am I being bamboozled? I was all the day on credit cards. I want to support your mission, your dream. I don't want to put anybody's dreams down. I'm a dreamer myself. And then, but now it's not giving nightcap, it's giving, showtime at the Apollo because nothing's about to perform. And so I was like, the last thing I want to hear is you sing. And then, of course, the worst that happens, he sings and he sounds bad.
So he couldn't sing.
He sounds terrible.
No.
And to take it, and you think that's the worst thing is like you're sitting there awkwardly trying to like support somebody's failed dream. The worst part is that afterward, he kind of like got emotional about how good he thought he sounded.
It has to be drugs.
I was like, yeah, I'm just so sorry. Like, I just when I really get in my zone, and I was like, oh, I got to get the Uber.
You can get in your zone, but I'm gonna get in my Uber.
I'm gonna get in my Uber. It was a scheme set up.
Yeah, that was quite a night.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. So I'll tell y'all about my best and worst date. So best, I have to be biased because I'm with my man now, y'all. It's right. So he came into LA and we basically had a whole day planned. We started out going to brunch. I can't remember the name of the restaurant but I know it was I think it was Silver Lake or Los Feliz. Oh, Home Restaurant. That's what it was. Yes.
Right in my
area. Yeah, it's really nice. So after that, we went to the Getty Museum in LA. And if you haven't been to the Getty Museum, I definitely recommend it. They have huge Renaissance themed art from different areas of Europe, France, Italy. We saw a beverage cart and they had wine. So I think 2 bottles of wine or two glasses of wine was like $24, but the bottle of wine was like $30. So we were like, it just makes sense to get the bottle instead of getting 2 glasses. So we got the bottle of wine and then we walked around the museum drinking wine, looking at art, talking about life, get to see the views of LA. And it felt magical. And after that, I asked him, I was like, hey, like, are you tired? If you are tired, like, we can go back to my house and just like chill. If not, I would love to take you to Malibu, which is like one of my favorite spots in LA. So we went to Malibu. Right before that, we stopped at Pavilions, the grocery store, and got some sandwiches so we could have that like on the beach. We watched the sunset in Malibu. And he had told me, he said, like, I've never watched the sunset before. Thank you so much for like taking me. And I was like, how have you never watched the sunset before? Like, it's the sunset. Like, you can see the sunset anywhere. We had a great time. We talked about life. We talked about what we both want from each other. And it just really felt like God placed us in the moment together, and it just felt like pure magic. And at that moment I was like, this man is going to be my boyfriend. I honestly was like, this man may be my husband, but we haven't gotten to that point yet, but hopefully. So that was like my best date ever, and we had so much fun. So
That's so sweet.
That sounds amazing.
that's
Y'all
my
gas,
man.
your gas bill was also crazy. I had to go from Silver Lake to the Getty,
Hmm.
Malibu. Y'all was moving. And that's how you
Yeah.
know the vibe was real.
They're tearing the city up.
Tear the city up. I definitely went to the gas station that weekend for sure. My worst date, y'all. Oh my God. And it's crazy because this man was fine. Okay. It's always the fine
It's
man.
always the
They
problem.
think they ain't gotta work.
Ah,
They ain't gotta work hard.
they
Right.
don't. They don't. So both of y'all have lived in LA. Colby, you were in LA. That's where we met. And hiking is a thing. The girls love to hike in LA. I'm not the hugest hiking person. Like, I'll do it, but it's not like my favorite thing. But at the time, you just do shit because a man is handsome and attractive. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, he suggested let's go on a hike. So I was like, all right, let's go on a hike. So we went to Runyon, of course, which, it's not the most hiking place, it's more so scenic. And this man, he was from Germany. He was black. He was from Germany and he grew up in London. So not only did he have like a European accent, he was also very tall as well. And I was like, oh, yes, I would just do some things.
Yes.
I promise y'all, it was like the hottest day. It was like 98 degrees outside. Why would we go hiking and it's 98 degrees? Like, and when you're up there in the mountains, like it feels like 100 something degrees, although it's like 90s, like it's hot.
Right.
So I remember mind you, this man hikes all the time. So
Right.
like he would like go ahead and just like leave me. And I'm like, damn, like, sir, you're just leaving me for dead. Like, what if I fall and like, you're meters ahead of me at
Ahead,
this
yeah.
point? Like, what if something happens? I kept my balance. He actually ends up falling and he has like a whole like blood just like rushing down his leg and we're in the middle of the mountain and I'm just like, oh my God, like I can't even call an ambulance or police because like how are they even gonna find us? So we end up just going back the way we came. Another red flag, he didn't have a car, so he Ubered to the mountain and he had to call his Uber back to the hospital. I offered to drive him to the hospital because I just didn't want to leave him, out high and dry. He
Yeah.
was like, no, it's fine. I'll just Uber to the hospital. So eventually the Uber came. I waited for him while the Uber came. But yeah, it was just a very terrible date. I never saw him again.
I'm not surprised.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, right. That's too. I'll be too embarrassed to call back. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
And
yeah,
like, hey, how's that scar healing? Or what I'm talking
right.
about?
Especially when I
yeah.
show myself to be a hiker. Like, this is what I do. And
Mhm.
ooh,
But yeah, sorry to that man, y'all. Sorry to that man. Sorry to
wishing
that
him
man.
well, sending him
Hope
love
he's
and
healing.
light.
Yeah, hope he's healing.
Right.
So my next question to y'all is, what do you think is a challenge that queer men have to deal with in relationships? And Colby, we could lead with you.
I would say, honestly, fighting existing under heteronormative norms as homosexual men. And I say that to say it's like we try to, not even we, but like subconsciously we kind of place ourselves in those categories of the man in relationship and the woman in relationship, which kind of boxes you in into the experiences that you can have or the things you're able to do or the role you may play. So it kind of hurts and hinders the way that we date, right? So I feel like sometimes when you stop, right, you have to be extra dominant or the leader, the man who always leads, pays the bill. He's the one taking the trash out. He's the one pumping the gas. But the same breath, in the same token, the man that is quote unquote the woman is still a man. So it's like some days you may be more feminine and they may be more masculine. It's like it kind of boxes you in from not actually being yourself or doing the things that you want to do, which stops you from actually learning your partner. And I think that as like homosexual men, like that we have that problem a lot. It's like if you don't meet a person who's free will allowing you to like explore your sexuality and knowing that sexuality is a spectrum and letting you exist within that, you'll have a big issue and you never really get the chance to really know them as they are or who they are.
I love that. That is so deep. That is so deep. And I absolutely agree. I feel like my best relationships have been where there isn't someone who takes that more dominant. It's been like equal part. We're
Yeah.
in this together. No one is the man, no one is the woman. We're just two human beings existing and enjoying life together. And we both recognize that. James, how about you? What do you feel like is a challenge that queer men face compared to others?
Yeah. I would say for me, a challenging part of dating queer men, just the closeness and proximity and smallness of the gay community.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
start talking to somebody and you have no idea that this person got history in this person, and now all of a sudden you got beef you don't even know about, or there's just so much. And to our benefit, that's a great thing when it comes to some elements. Friendship, there's a lot of things, but I think it really complicates getting to know somebody with a complete fresh start with when a lot of times that individual has history you don't know about that may involve people you know or may directly involve you. And so it kind of puts something in your head where you're like, well, my man got to be somebody that nobody ain't never had. Like, and it's like, not even that is unrealistic, but I think because the community is so small, you get really centered on finding somebody who is just for you, but instead of working through a lot of some of those other issues, but it's hard because you're like, some of the issues that come up really don't be negotiable.
But
I
okay, can I ask a
absolutely.
question? I have a
Go
question. I
ahead.
have a question. But James, wait. So what if the man is like, okay, so he's have experiences with friends around you, is like, yes, they made it like long term or like further along, but that's your girl. Like they went on a date with your girl. Like, what do you do? It's because because I have a friend group of six, it's six of us, and we run into this problem consistently. We consistently run into this problem. So it's like, what do you do? Is it not fair to say, girl, you can't mess with that man? Like I messed with that man. Like, is it not fair to say he's off limits?
For me, I would say it is unfair because
Ooh,
if you don't have the intention to be with this man, if
right.
you have moved on, what right do you have to claim possession over somebody who could very well be my next person, be my soulmate,
Right.
and so some of the little stuff has to fall to the wayside when you're talking about using the
Yeah.
thinking about an actual relationship. And so, yeah, I feel like it just really every situation is different. It depends how involved you were, but I think it is a little bit selfish to proclaim that man's off limits because we went on a date. And it's like, well, why did the date go wrong? Are you still interested in
Right.
them? Or do you just, you don't want it to be messy, which
Yeah.
is a fair thing.
Yeah. I think it's different when if it was just a date and it was just
Right.
casual, like nothing ever happened, you guys never hooked up. Maybe there was a kiss, but like it just the spark wasn't there. Like that's different versus if there
Right.
were actual like emotions involved and you were dealing with this person for an extended period of time. Then and if that friend knows that, then I definitely can see like where it gets messy.
Yeah.
But like James's point, the gay community is unfortunately very small. And everybody hangs out with one another. Everybody knows one another. And it's tough to actually find a life partner when people just get around.
Right. And I
Yeah.
Yeah.
feel like it's normal in the gay community for people to like get around. It's like it's been normalized. So it's like you think you may have had somebody that's off limits and they're like low key, but then you show a picture and like they know them, they've had your man. It's like like I'm twitching. Like I don't know what to do anymore. It's because it's like you've all experienced something that's supposed to be like now that's to me. So I guess I'm saying this to say I'm just not that mature just yet. Like I'm just not that mature just yet. That's a lot. And that's a lot
Yeah.
for me. That's a
Yeah.
problem for me, honestly.
Now, they call me T with Tim.
Yes.
So have y'all ever gotten into a fight over a man, James?
Altercation.
Mm,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Physical?
No, not physical. Just like
Okay.
we had to establish some boundaries, lay some
yeah.
ground rules.
Good.
Because one thing about me, I'm never gonna trip if somebody gets around, if they're doing whatever. Approach it as, well, you're not me.
Right.
So you're never gonna do what I do. And so if I
Right.
have a man now, he never had this before. And so whatever may have existed before doesn't matter anymore. And
Period.
if you see me with the man, your time's up.
Period.
Right.
And so I don't care what you had, I don't care what you say or what you tweet, just know that now I'm gonna lay my claim.
Yeah.
And there was a time where I had to do that while out at a club because somebody was being a little rowdy. And it just was like, hey, I'm going to come to you and approach you because I know you have a person that I'm talking to. And they, when alcohol is involved, it'd be a little bit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not trying to do all that. I'm just trying to let you know, I know we're going to have to frequent the same spaces. What I'm not going to allow you to do is what you're trying to do now ever again.
Yeah.
You gotta clear her air. Let me
Yeah,
clear.
yeah. We have to yoink a little bit.
Yeah.
And that helped, but you could still see, even now, I would be like, if that situation was still going on, that person would still be trying to do that. And you're like, oh, this is actually just your MO.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of want to, you thrive off of drama or chaos because it gives you something to do, because I don't think there's anything else underneath. Sometimes you got to pop out. You just got to be like, all right, this show one shot, wrap it up.
Sometimes you gotta pop out. That's the South LA in you, James. Kobe, have you ever fought over a man?
Well, yes. Personally, that's like when people talk about fighting over men's back, I'd be quiet because I know who I am, and I know that I definitely have no problem checking behind a man, especially my man. So it's like I've been on both sides of that ball of being the attempt to be checked about a man and having to check about my man. I just think it's fair to establish boundaries and to let him know that this will be the first and the last time I will address this, and we won't talk about this anymore.
Period.
So, but yeah, I've did, like I said, been on the other side of the ball too, where it's been an attempt of someone trying to check me about their old man that is now my man, that's no longer their man. So also establishing that boundary that this is now my man, it's my time, and your subscription is over. Find a new
I
lease.
agree.
So it's definitely have been that before too. So
I agree. I definitely agree. Me personally, I have not fought over a man, but I will if I need to.
yes.
So, anybody trying to come for my man, don't, just letting
Warning.
y'all know. So we already talked about dating and we talked about our best date, worst date, fights over men, encounters with the others out in public, as we shall call it. Have y'all ever had sex on a first date? Colby.
Don't you test drive a car before you buy it?
Nope.
I gotta get me, friend. I gotta get me. I gotta put me first. I gotta put me first.
I gotta put me first.
I gotta put me first. Especially since I know, I know I'm not about to see this man again. Like, I know that this is gonna be it for me. Let me go and get what I need. And I've definitely gotten what I needed and grabbed my panties and left. And that's just what it had to be. That's just what it had to be, honestly. So yes.
Yeah. Was it good?
Well, yes. Not wasting anybody's around here. Not wasting anybody's. So
Period. James, how about you?
Yes, I had a whole phase. I got down.
Okay.
Yes.
But
cheers to that.
Whenever I do, I'm letting you know up front, this is where I'm at and this is where we about to go.
Right.
And
I agree.
But yeah, there is no shame in having a little fun as long as everybody knows what's up.
And I think using some type of protection is key because, there is a lot of diseases out here amongst the queer community. So,
I think
got to make sure you're protected. Go
In
ahead,
the year
Kobe.
2024, like there's so many different like medicines and like medications out for us to be protected. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have to take those steps, especially when you know you're out, like being yourself and just existing. Doxy prep, things to not only like protect you from HIV and AIDS, but like just a simple gonorrhea and chlamydia. It's too much help out here to still suffer. I feel it's like at that point, it's like we have to take ownership of ourselves. So I get that. Like if some people are not condom people, so if you know that of yourself, you know that you need to be taking your pill every morning. You need to have that alarm set. You need to be on your medication because you just never know. You can't expect every honesty from everyone.
And that leads me to my next point is what are those conversations like if you are okay, we know it's about to go down. How are y'all saying or what are y'all communicating in terms of like are you all in prep or do you want to use a condom? How are those conversations, James?
Yeah, I'm just very bluntly gonna say I'm on prep, ask
Mm-hmm.
and discuss what makes you feel comfortable, but I'm gonna lead with that. And you talking about this a first date situation or just in general?
First date situation, yeah.
Yeah, first date situation. If it gets there, we're gonna have a conversation probably actually before we even get back to the house.
Yeah.
Right.
Just so I know not to even waste my time letting you in my house or going to yours because my Uber ain't gonna be cheap.
Just as like blunt, like James said, it's straight. Do you want to use a condom? Or I'll say I'm on prep. Are you on prep? Like it's kind of offering myself up for tribute, like as if like just offering up my information first, just so you can feel the comfort to share because you just never know how that's going to go. Especially like if I don't know if you guys ever experienced like someone who actually is like positive or undetectable, like having to have that conversation. Like the first time I ever had that conversation was like I didn't know how to respond, but I was like, you kind of just want to make sure I'm offering the space of comfort. Like, hey, I'm also on prep too, so I'm covered as long as you're being healthy and you're taking your medication as well. There should be no issue. If as long as we're being adults around here, that's honestly all I ask.
Yeah. And I agree, Colby. And you just brought up something that is also a very much a factor in the queer community is the topic of HIV. My experience is I think I've encountered probably two people
Yeah, me too.
that have had or have HIV. And like, honestly, like for me personally, I just don't want that to be a factor in the relationship. So it did not work out. But they have been some of the most kindest, most genuine people I've ever met. And I just hate that there's such a stigma around HIV and how they're treated because they're just people like you and I. And somehow they contracted the virus. So yeah, like it's just such an unfortunate thing, but they still are living their lives. And I hope that they are able to build healthy relationships living with HIV. My next question to you guys is how important is sexual compatibility in a relationship or a dating capacity for getting to know somebody? Kobe.
I I would like to say it matters on how we're viewing it, right? So it's like, are we saying that this person is a strict top and not willing to flip to verse? Or are we saying that this person is a side and does not like penetration at all? Because some things are non-negotiable for me, Like I don't want to dry hump all day. I would like to have a little dum, a little ooh la la, a little something like that sometimes. But some things that some people are like are touch me nots. Some people have certain like boundaries for themselves that are non-negotiables that just cannot be persuaded or cannot be kind of moved with comfort, or like changed over time. So I think it's more of like having that conversation because if I can't have those things to change, then that's going to be a end all be all for me. It just has to,
Mhm.
it's open. It's more to if they're open for change rather than
Yeah.
it just being like us being sexually compatible.
So you're saying that if someone was either a strict, however they identify, that
Yeah.
may not work for you.
Like if they're that and they're not willing to change. Like for my last boyfriend, I thought that I was just a strict top. And then legs to the roof. And now I'm no longer a strict top. You know what I'm saying? Things happen over time, but I'm also was open to the change and open to trying
Mhm.
it. But if you're not even open to trying it, we're obviously will never be compatible. Like you
Yeah.
won't even have the conversation of trying it or the attempt to. So it's like that wouldn't work for me. Like I wouldn't be willing to deal with that.
James, how do you feel?
I think I feel similarly. I think the word strict in any capacity doesn't really belong in my relationship. I ask for flexibility in a lot of ways. I think sexuality, sexual preferences just has to be a part of that because who you were 10 years ago is not who you may be now.
Right.
And so as you grow and evolve and change, you may discover you like different things. You want to flip, you want to be a top now or a bottom. Like, I think to set boundaries like that don't leave room for change and growth in a lot of ways. And so I think, yeah, I think sexual chemistry, well, first of all, I think chemistry in general got to be into you, to move forward in that capacity. But yeah, I think as open as you can be without feeling like you're changing yourself or taking away parts of you is important to me, because I know that it means that there's consideration. Like, okay, if this is something that you want, I'm willing to give it a try, and I'm the same way with you.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think the most important thing is just really to, if you truly like the person, if you truly want to have them in your life for a long period of time, I think it's a matter of having patience. Queer sex, especially with men, it's very different than heteronormative sex. So things can get messy. If you aren't, doing it
Yeah.
right. So I think that it's important to really have patience with the other person, especially if it's something that they are just not comfortable with or haven't had many experiences doing. So
Yeah, especially because I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know the birds and the bees taught for being gay. And so there is so much trial and error in figuring out what you like, what feels natural, And so, yeah, patience is definitely key, but there's only so much patience.
Yeah.
I
mean,
James said, I can only wait so long.
yeah, I was just about to say, like, because how long is too long? Like, at a certain point, someone's not changing their mind. And they're playing. Sometimes people play the long game to see when you're going to give up on changing, trying to wait to change their mind. You just see this is just who they are. Like, some people can present you just let me think about it. Give me some time. I just need some time, to the point to where they just they get comfortable to where it is. Like, they just allow you to just, let it run off of your mind. And now they're just this strict top, or they're just this side. And that's just what you accept now. You just grow comfortable with what you didn't want before.
Right.
Yeah. It's hard to know. I think I haven't always been the best communicator, so I'm adopting this new over communicating.
Yeah.
And letting you know, hey, I've raised an issue.
Yeah.
And if you ain't changing on it, at a certain point, I'm not gonna be here.
Right.
So what can we do if you still want me to be here and I still want to be with you, what can we do to shift that? Because it can't keep going like this.
Right. 100%.
Yep. And that's real. That's really real. Thank you guys for sharing. Just a couple more questions before we move on to our game. And in the topic of queer men in relationship, what qualities do you value most in a life partner? And we'll start with Colby.
I would say stability within themselves, and being goal driven within themselves. Like, I like to see someone set goals for themselves and are actually driving to do it, setting tangible steps to do it. That does not involve me, that does not impact me. But like, if they say they want to go for this promotion at work, I want to see them actually taking the steps to get this promotion. They're going to get this degree. They're taking the steps to get the degree. They're applying. They're in the classes. They're not just doing their 3 to 6 to 9 month plan and just writing it out and putting stars around it and posting the quote on their Instagram story. And that's all it is. And that's the only work they've done, but actually doing the work. And when I say stability, they're stable within their own life. Like, they're not, it's not a thing of being stable for us, but they're taking care of their own business, and they're not in need of someone else to help them take care of their business, because you can't do anything for me if your house not in together, your house not in order. I just look for those qualities within themselves before I look into anything else, honestly, because I think that's the biggest thing for me. Those without those things in the foundation, I can't even move forward.
I love that. And that's facts.
Yeah.
That's really facts. James, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think I look for compassion. Yeah, nowadays a little bit more for compassion for others, but also, how do you treat yourself? What do you allow in your life that will then tell me where we're going to go and what you feel is okay or appropriate? Flexibility, room for mistakes. Life is hard. Relationships are hard. And so the kind of one bad vibe and I'm out is tough, because you're learning somebody. So I think giving people grace and giving partner grace to learn you and to learn what you all are going to be is important to me. Like I said, a job.
Oh, yeah.
James, you need that job.
Employed.
Has to have income. Okay.
Yeah, has to have income. But also, I think as an artist, I'm really into the more woo-woo-y, creative, experimental, imaginative type. So like folks who are have a little bit of like fun and spirit to them. And so I think like that goes a long way for me, that there's something about you that just makes me feel like we're going to create together. And it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be anything substantial, but just we'll create a language together. We'll create something that feels unique to us.
I think for me, I value honesty. I value communication. I think the friendship piece is important. Like beyond us being in love with one another, are we actually friends? Like, do we get along? Can we go out in public and have a good time and have fun? That's something that's really important. And I think just being able to have genuine conversations that create something that feels like this is going to last a long time. It has to really be a authentic connection and it can't feel forced. That's something that I value in a life partner. So yeah. How has your idea of a life partner evolved over time? Was there ever at one point in your life where it's like, I want this, and now actually I want this? James.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, growing up with parents who were married for 40 years and had 5 kids, success, the metric of a successful relationship to me looked like those things. It looked like making it work no matter what. It looked like, you know, a bit of suffering to just claim that you have a strong relationship. And I think a lot of what I thought a relationship was changed when I realized that I'm not about to be, it's not, a lot of that doesn't work for me. And so I am way more interested in having the hard conversations instead of sweeping it under the rug, and being flexible, and like, maybe we're not going to have the white picket fence, the kids, and all of the things that we thought we might have, but what are we going to have that we both agree on is going to make it last for us? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of customizing our relationship and not using this kind of blanket of what relationships are supposed to be, and being very specific with, this is who I am, this is who you are, what does the combination of us two, what works for us? That kind of feels like it'll just make the relationship last a lot longer if we both come into it knowing we're going to get something that's made just for the two of us.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. Colby, how has your idea of a life partner changed over time?
I used to have this thing of staying down, being down, like it's going to be rough times in a relationship, that things is not going to always be love and lovey-dovey, and which is true, right? You're not always going to be sunny days, but it shouldn't be sunny, cloudy months or 2 months, 3 months. Like, I shouldn't be like resenting my partner for long periods of time and thinking that's normal, and just trying to focus on the thing of longevity of like, well, I've been with this person for so long and invested time. So I used to be so stuck on the thing of being like, I've invested so much here. I've put so much in the foundation here. I've planted so many seeds. I've watched this, I've watered this, I've nurtured this. Like, I got to see something come from it. I got to see something come from it. But now I'm more settled and think of like, I just want a simple, happy life. And I'm willing to walk away from something if it's not going to give me that, just because it gave me time and I put things here and I've grown here. Like, being able to walk away from relationships that aren't always the sweetest. I want the sweet man. I want the man that's going to actually be kind and attentive and, pays attention to my down days. Who knows? I like flowers. I like roses and sunflowers mixed together. Like, he knows I like those things. I don't want the man that's just, he looks good on paper. I used to focus on the man that looks good on paper, the man that, looks good on side of me, the man that, all these things I can bring out, and my people like, ooh, like that man. I'm over that, because behind the scenes, you're not happy. You're not actually getting those things that are fulfilling. I'd rather have the simple man with the life that actually wants to be a genuine person, actually be sweet and nice and kind to me. Just the willingness to walk away and get to something that's fresh and soft and light,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You want a soft life.
Yes, yes.
Like, oh man. I will say from my experiences, like at least in the past, I wanted someone that was tall like me. I wanted someone that like paid all the bills. Like I wanted to be a princess. But now as I've grown and matured, I realize that relationships are equal parts. And even when it doesn't feel like equal parts, like you can take on sometimes more than what the other person is willing to take on. It may not always be 50-50. Sometimes it's 60-40, 80-20. But at the end of the day, as long as there is love and y'all are both committed to each other, I think that is what is important for me. And that's something that I look for is unwavering loyalty. What advice would you give to other queer men who are looking for a relationship or want to be married one day or trying to find their life partner? James.
Take the time to really get to know yourself. Just, I would say sometimes it feels really tough to be alone and be in that silence, but I think that part of your experience is so important to really help you decide what's going to be an added benefit to your life. The more you can really understand who you are when nobody else is around, and all the parts of you that you love or don't love and are learning to love are going to really help you understand. Then this is the part that I want to add to me. I think a lot of, especially younger queer men that I've encountered, are like, I got to get a man now because I don't like being alone. That's a whole other issue that perhaps needs some time to really help understand. And so, yeah, I would say that. And then I would just say, be honest about your intentions with other people. A lot of people want to be in relationships, but like I said, there's not a lot of us out here. So I think there's sometimes this feeling of leading people on and being with somebody just because you don't want to be by yourself. I just find it to be unfair. So I would say be genuine and just learn you and what you love about yourself.
I absolutely agree with you. I really do. Colby, what advice would you give to anybody that is looking for their life partner or wants to be in a relationship as a queer male?
Personally, I would say do not exist in the fear that your current relationship has to be your last relationship or will be your last relationship. Like, be willing to walk away if you're not getting what you feel like you deserve. And don't think that you're asking for too much, because you're usually not. You're just asking the wrong person. I know you may hear that a lot, but like, you're generally probably just asking the wrong person or somebody who just don't have the space to give you what you want. Because sometimes we exist in a space that this person is not giving us what we need or what we desire. But personally, some people just don't have it to give you. You may genuinely just be with the wrong person. You may be with a person that's just not doing what they can, or doing what they're giving you what they can, but what they can give you is just not what you need, honestly. So just having the willingness to be able to look at a whole situation and walk away, or that you have to stay into something. Like, we cannot exist in fear. There's no love in fear. Like, you have to move forward if you have to, or be like James said too, be willing to be alone until something that is worthwhile comes around. So
yeah. Wow. Y'all are just amazing guests and so many life experiences that I just really appreciate. I would say for anybody that is looking for a relationship or their life partner, because queer men, although we have said the community is small, there are some of us that are actually looking for relationships. I would say be ready to put in the work. Relationships are not easy. They're not. Like I said, there's going to be times where your partner just may not have the energy and you may have to fill in that gap. Really know who you are, kind of like James said. Just be ready for the challenges that life may bring, because life is not linear at all. So if you are looking for a relationship, it will come to you. Be patient, give yourself love and grace, and continue to love on yourself until it comes. So, yes, that concludes our discussion today, and we're going to move on to our game. James and Colby, wow. So, today's game is Never Have I Ever. We've played it many times when we were younger. Probably playing it to this day. I don't know. Like I said, it's Tea with Tim, so you know these questions are going to be juicy. Are you guys nervous? Are you scared?
No.
Just a little bit. I don't know what the hell you got over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell you got over there.
For the audience, they do not know what these questions are. So we're going to keep it quick. We're going to put up 5 fingers. And it is a competition between James and Colby. So you guys are going against each other. So whoever is the first to put down all 5 of their fingers will lose. And I will be your lovely host. So yes, never have I ever kissed more than one person in 24 hours. Ooh, Colby! Do you want to tell the story?
I'm just young and hot. That's
okay.
it. I'm just young and hot. And God.
All right, young and hot. Young and hot. We'll leave it at young and hot. We'll leave it at young and hot. Never have I ever flirted with someone to get something I wanted. Oh. Colby! He was slow to put that finger down.
It's important to know your power, and it's important to know your power. That's all I can say to that. Literally. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, okay. Know your power. Know your power. I would put a finger down for this next question. Never have I ever snooped through someone's phone without them knowing. James, you've never... Hey. James, you've never looked through someone's phone.
Somebody I'm talking to?
Yes, someone that you're talking to.
No, I've never looked at somebody's phone that I'm talking to.
Wow.
Oh God, I've looked in that phone, babe. Oh God, James, you're whooping my ass right now. This is
Oh my
crazy.
God. So James still has 4 fingers and Colby has 2 fingers.
I'm gonna put one down for the previous question. I had to think,
Okay.
but I definitely have flirted with somebody to get what I wanted, and I got it.
There we go.
Okay.
Woo!
All right. So James
I
is
had a
now at
memory.
3.
I was like, I got that.
Colby is at 2. This next one, I'm definitely guilty of. Never have I ever created a fake social media account to stalk someone else online.
I put a finger
Done
down.
that one. I done that one.
All right, we are at a tie. We are at 2 and 2 fingers left. Okay. When you were younger, never have I ever snuck someone into your parents' home.
Oh.
No? Okay. All right. We're still at tie. We're still at a tie.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here today.
All right.
I play with Christy like that.
Or no, I hope my mom isn't watching. Mom, I've definitely snuck someone into the house.
Oh.
So sorry, Mom. Never have I ever been in handcuffs. Interpret how you like.
Oh. Legs to the roof.
Not yet.
Not legs to the roof.
Not yet. I look forward to that.
I love a good BDSM. I love a good BDSM. Honestly, I think
Same. Yeah, like handcuff me, daddy.
Yeah.
All right. Never have I ever gone on a date just for the free meal or drinks.
You know, I have not done that.
What? James with the finger down.
Oh,
wow, y'all, it is neck and neck. Like, I did not expect this at all. Like, 1 finger left for James, 1 finger left for Colby. I would have lost the game by now. Okay, this last one is good. Never have I ever hooked up with someone and regretted it the next day.
Mm.
Colby and James.
Yes, I feel so much better about myself.
It is a tie. It is a tie.
Yes.
Oh my God.
More than once, honestly.
Yeah, I'll say more than once, honestly. Like, honestly, not too long ago. Shit.
Woo, man, we've all been there, okay?
Yes. Waking up and I'm immediately like getting the fuck out. Like, literally.
Oh my God. No, literally, like, once we're done, I'm going. Like, Uber is already on the way. Okay?
Already. Like, I don't even give a fuck if the Uber's not calm. I'm walking down the street and calling.
You hear your car alarm going off?
Oh my God. Well, y'all, that is it on dating and relationships for queer men in today's trying times. Thank you so much, James and Colby, for being guests on What's the Tea with Tim. Y'all are absolutely amazing. I can't thank you enough. So glad you guys were able to be on today's show. Where can the people follow you guys on socials? Colby.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is the official Colby, Kobe, KHOLBIE. My TikTok name is Kobe D, spelled same way, Kobe D. Follow me on socials. Let's chat it up a bit.
Love it. Love it. I will say, Colby and James, y'all both be going up on the socials. James, how about you? Where can the people follow you on social?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at James Earl and then 3 eyes. And then the same on TikTok and then on Twitter, James Earl 23.
Awesome. Wow, what a powerful discussion we had today. And thank you for joining me on this journey as we unpack the ups and the downs of dating and relationships within the queer community. It's essential to recognize that while the dating scene can be daunting, it's also filled with the potential for authentic connections. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one thought. In a world that often promotes superficial encounters, never underestimate staying true to your values and seeking out the relationships that uplift and inspire you. As we head into the week ahead, I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on what truly you want in your connections. Remember, it's okay to prioritize quality over quantity in your dating life. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of What's the Tea with Tim. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, share with your friends. Stay tuned for more meaningful conversations in the coming weeks. Until next time, keep sipping, keep shining, besties. I'm Tim, signing off with one final sip of tea. Until next time.